Part 7. Prophetic Lineage. There is no verified information about the lineage between Adam and Ismail. There are a handful of opinions regarding the lineage between Ismail and Adnan, but none of them have authentic sources to verify their claims. Modern archaeology dictates that Homo sapiens have existed for tens of thousands of years at least. Credible scientific evidence even suggests over 100,000 years. Islamic creed need not reject this, as we do not have textual basis to argue the contrary. A hadith states that Allah created the children of Adam, and Adam saw a bright light amongst his children. He asked, "Who is this, O Allah?" And Allah responded, "This is your son Dawood, who shall live towards the end of times." If Dawood, who lived thousands of years before the time of Muhammad, peace be upon him, is considered to have lived towards the end of time, then it is reasonable to assume that humanity has lived for much longer than a few thousand years. The lineage of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to Adnan is, in contrast, well documented and without controversy. It is as follows: Muhammad, peace be upon him, Ibn Abdullah, Ibn Abdal-Muttalib, Ibn Hashim, Ibn Abdmanaf, Ibn Qusay, Ibn Kilab, Ibn Murrah, Ibn Ka'b, Ibn Lu'ay, Ibn Ghalib, Ibn Fihr. Fihr is the founder of the Quraysh, Ibn Malik, Ibn al-Nadir, Ibn Kinana, Ibn Khuzaymah, Ibn Mudrika, Ibn Ilyas, Ibn Mudar, Ibn Nizar, Ibn Mad, Ibn Adnan. The Prophet stated, Allah chose Kinana from all of the descendants of Ismail, and he chose the Quraysh from Kinana, and he chose Banu Hashim from the Quraysh, and he chose me from Banu Hashim. The Prophet's lineage is therefore the most noble lineage to exist. Qusay propelled the success of the Quraysh, and is thus referred to as the small Quraysh. He wrestled back power in Mecca from the tribe of Huzah into the lineage of the Quraysh. Qusay married the daughter of the chieftain of Huzah, and demonstrated his prowess above the sons of Huzah, which gained him notoriety and respect. He leveraged this position to gain internal support, and claimed Mecca for the Quraysh. He also founded the Dar al-Nadwa, Parliament of Mecca, as well as the tradition of caring for and accommodating the pilgrims of Hajj. Hashim's name was Amr, but he would grind barley, Hashama, for the Hajj pilgrims, and thus became known as Hashim, the grinder, due to his generosity. After a deadly drought, he was responsible for the economic success of the Quraysh after founding the idea of the bi-yearly trade routes to Rome in the summer and Yemen in the winter. The Quran references this in Surah Quraysh.
For the favor of making the Quraysh secure in their trading caravan to Yemen in the winter and Syria in the summer, let them worship the Lord of this sacred house, who fed them against hunger and made them secure against fear. Surah 106, verses 1-4.
Abd al-Muttalib's name was Shayba al-Hamd. Shayba means gray hair, and Hamd means praise. He was born with some gray hair, and thus he was called Gray Hair of Praise. As his father died when Abd al-Muttalib was a child, he was raised amongst his mother's tribe in Yathrib, later to be renamed Medina. When he was brought into Mecca as a young boy riding with his uncle Muttalib, people assumed he was his slave and said, "There is Abd al-Muttalib, the slave of Muttalib," and the name stuck. Abd al-Muttalib was famous for a number of reasons, one of which was his rediscovering of the well of Zamzam, a miraculous well, situated in Mecca, which appeared after Hajar was left with her son, Ismail, in a scorching and desolate desert. The water began to spout forth from the ground and continued to pour, marking the beginning of a civilization in the previously barren Mecca. Hundreds of years prior, the well of Zamzam was buried, and it was lost ever since. Abd al-Muttalib had a recurring dream about its location, and would not stop receiving the dream until he took his son and began digging until he struck water. He grew to be a source of pride and joy for the Quraysh. Abdullah was the son of Abd al-Muttalib, the chieftain of Banu Hashim, and he married the daughter of the chieftain of Banu Zura, Amina bint Wahb. They married a few days before the trade caravans would leave for Syria, and Abdullah passed away on that journey. This meant that they only spent a few days together, though it was enough for the conception of the blessed prophet, peace be upon him.